Our progress report says we are at stage 8, paragraph page 644. The last headword was the rest new work type of lesson. Okay, so let's start with revision. Ready? Here we go.
Yeah.
What are the feminine forms of actor, host, prince, waiter, and god? What are the feminine forms of actor, host, prince, waiter, and god? The feminine forms
The feminine
of
forms
actor, host,
of actor,
prince,
boss,
waiter,
friends,
and god
leader, and God
are actress,
are
hostess,
actress, hostess,
princess, waitress,
princess,
and
priestess,
goddess.
and goddess.
Very good. What are the feminine forms of nephew, landlord, and widower? What are the feminine forms of nephew, landlord, and widower? The feminine forms of nephew,
The feminine form
landlord,
are nephew,
and widower
landlord,
are
and widower,
niece, landlady, and
niece,
widow.
landlord, and widow.
Very good. What has been the most important event of your life so far? What has been the most important event of your life so far? The most important
The
event
most
of my life
important
so
event
far
of my life
has been
ever has been
what?
entrance exam
Passing the entrance exam. Very good. Okay. Why? Why? Because
because
it's very difficult.
it's yeah, they're very difficult.
That's correct. But congratulations. Okay, next. What type of sports event do you like to watch most? What type of sports event do you like to watch most? I like to watch
I like to watch skating
the most.
the most.
Very good. Would you say you had led an eventful or uneventful life? Would you say you had led an eventful or uneventful life? I'd say I'd led
I'd
an
I'd
eventful
live
life.
an eventful life.
Very good. Are you the kind of person who likes to put his nose into things that don't concern him? Are you the kind of person who likes to put his nose into things that don't concern him? Yes or no?
Yes,
I'm the kind of person who
I'm
likes
the kind
to
of
put
person who
his
likes
nose into things
nose
that
into
don't
things
concern him.
that don't concern him.
Very good. If you won the lottery, how would you celebrate? If you won the lottery, how would you celebrate? If I won the lottery, I'd
The
celebrate
lottery.
by.
I celebrate by birthday.
Very good. The most countries have a big celebration on New Year's Eve. Do most countries have a big celebration on New Year's Eve? Yes, most countries
Yes,
have a big
most
celebration
countries
on New Year's
have
Eve.
a celebration on New Year's Eve.
Very good. Do you always buy clothes that are up to date? Do you always buy clothes that are up to date? Yes or no?
Yeah,
I always buy clothes that are up to date.
I always buy clothes that are up to date.
Wait, if you're planning to travel around the world, is it essential to have an up-to-date passport? If you're planning to travel around the world, is it essential to have an up-to-date passport? Yes. If you're planning
Yes,
to travel
if you're
around the world.
um
Now, if you're planning to travel.
practice
Okay,
able.
one moment. Let me reconnect. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, let's continue. Okay, so if you're planning to travel around the world, is it essential to have an up-to-date passport? If you're planning to travel around the world, is it essential to have an up-to-date passport? Yes, if you're
Yeah.
planning to travel
If you're planning to travel
around the world, it's
abroad,
essential to have an
it's
up-to-date
essential
passport.
to have a palm tree,
Up-to-date passport.
up-to-date passport.
Very good. If you bought some food in the supermarket and then discovered it was out of date, would you take it back? If you bought some food in a supermarket and then discovered it was out of date, would you take it back? Yes. If I bought some food
If I put
in a
the some
supermarket and then
in second
discovered it
and
was
discover
out of date,
it was
I'd take it
out
back.
of date, I take it back.
Very good. What does the idiom a piece of cake mean? What does the idiom a piece of cake mean? The idiom a piece of
The
cake
idiom
means
is it
extremely
means
easy to do.
extremely easy to do.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. Most of the questions in the exam
Most of the
were
questions
really difficult, but the
are really
first
difficult.
three were a
At
piece
the
of
first
cake.
three of a piece of cake.
Very good. When we use nouns in the general sense, what do we do with them? When we use nouns in the general sense, what do we do with them? When we use nouns in the
When
general
we use
sense,
this
we put them
general
in the
sense,
plural
we
and
put
we do not put
in
an
plural
article
and
in
we
front
don't
of them.
put article in part of them.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. People go to cinemas to watch
The
films.
cinema to watch
What
film.
do we do if a noun doesn't have a plural form? What do we do if a noun doesn't have a plural form? If a noun doesn't have
If a noun
a plural form,
doesn't have
we simply
a
use it
plural form,
on its own,
we simply use
also
it when it's
without an article.
a particle.
Article.
Article.
Very good. Give me an example. Give me an example, please. Paper comes from wood.
Paper comes from wood.
Very good. Is it correct to say the water is necessary for the life? Is it correct to say the water is necessary for the life? No, it isn't correct
No,
to say
it
the
isn't correct
water
to
is
say
necessary
the
for
water
the life.
is necessary for the life.
What must we say instead? What must we say instead? We must say water
We
is
must say
necessary for
water
life
is
instead.
necessary for instead.
Very good. What are the articles in English? What are the articles in English? The articles in English
The
are
articles in
the,
English
a,
are
and an.
the and noun.
What do we call the word the? What do we call the word the? We call the word
We call
the definite
the word
article.
and definite article.
The definite article.
A definite article.
Very good. What do we call the words and an? What do we call the words and an? We call the words
We call
and an
a
the
words a
indefinite
and an
articles.
three indefinite
One more.
articles.
The indefinite articles.
The indefinite articles.
Very good. What's the difference between and an? What's the difference between and an? The difference between a
The
and
difference
an
between
is
a
that
and noun.
we use a
We use a
before a word that starts
before a
with a
word
consonant
that starts
sound,
with a consonant
whereas
sound.
we use an
Whereas we
before a
use
word
a
that
before
starts
a word
with a vowel sound.
that starts with a vowel sound.
Very good. Give me some examples. Give me some examples, please. A book, a
A book,
university, an
a
apple,
university,
an
an
hour,
apple,
etc.
an hour, etc.
Very good. What do we use or when do we use the indefinite article and an? When do we use the indefinite articles and an? We use the
We
indefinite
use
articles and
three
an
indefinite
with
articles,
singular
a and noun,
countable
with
nouns.
countable noun.
Give me some examples. Give me some examples, please. A table, an address,
a table,
etc.
an address, etc.
When do we use the word one instead of the indefinite article? When do we use the word one instead of the indefinite article? We use the word one
We use
instead
a
of
for one
the indefinite
instead of
article
the
when we want
definite
to emphasize
for
the
the one
number.
side
To
number
emphasize the number.
to emphasize the number.
Very good. Give me a sentence with the word one. Give me a sentence with the word one, please. I like one song
I
on
like
that
one
CD,
side
but
on
all
that
the
city,
others are really
but
boring.
all the others were very boring.
Very good. What kind of worms are there? What kind of worms are there? There are earthworms,
There
silkworms,
are some worms,
woodworms, etc.
good worms,
What kind of things are often made of silk? What kind of things are often made of silk? Ties, scarves,
hides,
etc.
worms,
are
etc.
often made of silk.
Often
Made of silk.
made
Very good. How many limbs do humans have? How many limbs do humans have? Humans have four limbs.
human sounds,
Four limbs.
four limbs.
Very good. If you discover rats in your house, would you consider using a poison to kill them? If you discovered rats in your house, would you consider poison to kill them? Yes or no?
Yes.
If I discovered rats
If
in
I
my house,
discover
I'd
that
consider using
cover,
poison
I
to kill them.
consider it to kill them.
Very good. Would you be willing to spend a night alone in a cave full of bats? Would you be willing to spend a night alone in a cave full of bats? Yes or no?
Yeah,
I'd be willing to spend
I've been
a
willing
night
to
alone in a
up
cave
night alone
full of
in the
bats.
cave,
Full of bats.
full of fun.
Very good. Do you think some people deserve more of the good things in life than others? Do you think some people deserve more of the good things in life than others? Yes or no? I
Yeah,
think some
I
people
think
deserve
people
more
deserve
of the good things in
more
life
of the good
than
things in
others.
life, in other things
Than others.
than
Is
others.
there anything you think you deserve but have never received? Is there anything you think you deserve but have never received? No, there isn't
No,
anything I think
there
I
isn't
deserve
anything
but have
I'd concern
never received.
that never received.
Very good. What's the difference between the words frequent and frequent? What's the difference between the words frequent and frequent? The difference between the
The
words
difference
frequent and
or
frequent
frequently,
is that
frequent,
the word frequent is a verb,
frequent.
whereas the word frequent
The
is an
word
adjective.
frequent is an adjective.
Very good. Do you frequent any clubs? Do you frequent any clubs? Yes or no? I
Yes,
frequent some clubs.
I frequent some clothes.
Do you pay frequent visit to your doctor? Do you pay frequent visit to your doctor? Yes, I pay
Yeah,
frequent visit
I take
to my
frequent
doctor.
pickup for my doctor.
How frequently do you visit your dentist? How frequently do you visit your dentist? I visit my dentist
I visit
about
my dentist
twice a
about
year.
twice a year.
Very good. Okay. What's the best way to attract people's attention in the street? What's the best way to attract people's attention in
Oh,
the
what?
street? The best way to
The
attract
best way
people's
to attract
attention in the street
people's
is
attention
to
in the
shout
street.
loudly to them and is
To loud,
to shout loudly to them
to loudly to them
and wave.
and wave.
What are the main attractions of the place where you live? What are the main attractions of the place where you live? The main attractions of
The
the
main
place
attraction
where I live
of the where I live
are
are
what?
Tenzing.
Very good. Tell me the name of a famous person who you think is attractive, even though they are not particularly beautiful or good looking. Tell me the name of a famous person who you think is attractive, even though they are not particularly beautiful or good looking. A famous person who I think.
Word membership,
One more.
I think.
A famous person
Famous worship,
who I think is
who
attractive,
I think
even though
this are
they are
even
not
though
particularly
not
beautiful or
particularly
good looking,
beautiful
is,
or good looking is
oh, let's say, Jackie Chan.
huh?
You know,
Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan. Very good. Next, do you think most people these days are too busy with their own lives to care about the rest of the people in the world? Do you think most people these days are too busy with their own lives to care about the rest of the people in the world? Yes or no?
Yes,
I think most
I
people
think
these days
most people
are
these
too
days
busy with their own
are too
lives
busy
to care
with their
about
own life
the rest
to
of
care
the
about
people in the world.
upward people in the world.
Very good. Okay, and that's the end of our revision. Let's have new word. Okay, repeat. Miserable. Hello?
Is hello
Miserable.
miserable.
Very good. Okay, listen. Miserable is an adjective. If you're miserable, you are very unhappy. For example, the kind of things that make me miserable are financial problems and sickness. I think the most miserable place on earth is North Korea because they can't have the freedom that they deserve. Let's practice. What kind of things make you feel miserable? What kind of things make you feel miserable? The kind of things that
The
make
kind of
me
thing
feel miserable
that
are
make me feel miserables are
are what?
the miserable.
Yeah, make you unhappy.
Bad
What?
ending
Uh,
movie.
bad ending movie. Very good. Okay, next. Which do you think is the most miserable place on earth? Which do you think is the most miserable place on earth? I think.
I think
Let's say North Korea is the most miserable
the most
place
Korean
on
that
earth.
miserable place
On earth.
on earth.
What do we mean by miserable weather? What do we mean by miserable weather? By miserable weather, we
By
mean
miserable weather,
cold
we
and
mean
rainy weather.
and rainy weather.
Very good. Okay, next repeat. Emotion.
Emotion,
Emotional.
emotional.
Very good. Okay, listen. Emotion is a noun. It means feelings. Emotion, feelings. For example, happiness, sadness, surprise, anger, etc. are emotions. Emotional is an adjective. If someone is emotional, it means that they easily get upset or excited, easily get angry or sad, etc. Let's practice. Name some different emotions. Name some different emotions, please. Some different
Happy,
emotions. Some
some
different
different
emotions
emotions,
are happiness, sadness,
happiness,
surprise,
sadness,
anger,
surprise,
etc.
anger, etc.
Reggie, do you get very emotional when you watch a sad film? Do you get very emotional when you watch a sad film? Yes or no? I don't get very
I don't
emotional
get
when
really
I watch a
emotional
sad film.
when I watch sad films.
Very good. Okay, next, repeat. Look before you leave.
Look before you feel.
Look before you leave.
Look before you leap.
Very good. Okay, listen. Look before you leave means think carefully before you make a big decision. For example, you should always look before you leave when buying a house. Let's practice. What does the idiom look before you leave mean? What does the idiom look before you leave mean? The idiom look before you leave
Be-
means
Look before you
think
leap.
carefully before you make
Think
a
carefully
big decision.
before you do a big decision.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. Look before you leap. It will be too late
Look before
after
you
it's
leave.
done.
This after it's done.
It's done.
It's done.
Very good. Okay, so now let's move on to reading. Okay,
Uh,
so our reading is at stage 6, page 624. Okay, and the last head word was whom. Okay, so Rico, please start reading at page 625, number 4 question. When we have a preposition at the beginning. 625, number 4 question.
when you have a preposition at the beginning of affirmative clause,
Mhm.
can we follow the preposition with the word who?